There is a major development in the federal case against Luigi Mangione. Luigi Mangione is the man who's accused of gunning down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in the middle of Manhattan at the end of 2024. Now, there's news that he will officially not be facing the death penalty. To start off the conversation, what's your reaction here?
That's right. No death penalty on the table. It is a huge win for the defense. And I must say, I think kind of the larger point out of this is I think we're seeing that the Department of Justice got out a little bit too far over their skis, because what we saw from the U.S. District Judge today was just a very technical legal decision. The murder charge that the federal prosecution was trying to use to bring the death penalty in this case is what's called predicated on a lower offense. And it's pretty clear if you read just the basic statutes that give the definitions to these terms, that it just didn't apply in the case. And so the U.S. District Judge made a ruling today that said the federal government cannot proceed on the murder charge because it was predicated on stalking, and stalking does not qualify as a violent offense. So it's a purely jurisdictional issue. It's not the judge's opinion about what should happen in the case. Brittany, it just frankly, it shows that the prosecution were not able to get charges in the indictment that could stand up to a basic legal review.
So because this is very technical, does this set any type of precedent? Because essentially, you really broke down that legalese really well. The murder charge had to go with a crime of violence. Stalking, the judge is saying, is not a crime of violence. Does that set a precedent that stalking will never be a crime of violence because this is such a high-profile case?
The U.S. District Judge's decision today is not something that establishes formal legal precedents. But what we do see is that it is an interpretation of the law that's come before. And if you read the statute, and actually, it's anybody who wants to look it up, it's 18 USC Section 16, and it's very clear, Brittany. It says that the predicate offense, which in this case is stalking, has to involve the use, attempted use, or threatened use of physical force. And of course, stalking doesn't require that. Now, there is another option under the statute that says if stalking by its nature involves a substantial risk that physical force could be used, that could also provide a predicate. But of course, stalking by its nature means that you're sort of lurking in the shadows, nowhere near the person you're stalking. And so neither of those really fit at all. And I think, again, we just see that this was an indictment that was probably never going to stand up under any sort of federal scrutiny to the federal statutes in the case.